Hi guys, this is gsnhome.com and I'm here with the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Lite. Yes, believe it or not, Samsung also launched a Lite version of its phablet with a stylus. So the Lite version goes with a plastic body and also swaps the price for a lower price tag of around $485. Now it debuted in January this year and we finally got around to testing it in order to see if it's worth buying this one or maybe the Galaxy Note 9. Why the Note 9? Because they share the same CPU. Okay, so it's a 6.7-inch device which should be pretty similar to the Galaxy S10 Lite that we tested recently, although it adds a stylus in the mix. The color hues available here are Aura Glow, Aura Black and Aura Red, and the first thing I noticed is that the screen is flatter than on the other recent Samsung phones. As you can see here, we don't have much of a curvature for this screen. So we're talking about the design here. The backside is made of plastic and it draws quite a bit of fingerprints and lint around the camera area. It can scratch easily, so I suggest you would add a case. Also, it's rather slippery. Now the phone itself is rather good looking, although a bit generic nowadays, and the bezels feel a bit bigger than what we've gotten accustomed to in the Note 10 series and the S20 series. Well, other than that, I would say that the curved backside and the frame add a bit with the grip, but still it may be a bit slippery. 8.7 millimeters in thickness and a hefty 199 grams, although it's well distributed, the weight here. Also, no IP68 certification in case you were wondering. Now, as far as the screen is concerned, I mentioned it before, 6.7 inch. This one is a Super AMOLED with a resolution of 2400 over 1080 pixels. The good news is that it has HDR support, 20:9 aspect ratio and big bezels, and that's not good news anyways. Time to watch a video and see what the screen can do. So we have a typical test video here, and I would say that the punch hole selfie camera is within regular limits. Not the biggest punch hole in the world, but also not the smallest, so let's say medium. The screen we're getting here is bright, crisp. It's got vivid colors, actually very vivid colors, deep blacks as a Super AMOLED should, wide view angles, and a wide range of colors. Okay, so that's that. Now let's get to other aspects of the screen. As you probably know already, we do a bunch of tests for these displays. This one has a pentile matrix pixel arrangement, and we also measured the brightness and achieved 458 lux units. As you probably know, everything that goes above 400 lux is good enough for us. It's superior to the Huawei P40 Lite, the Galaxy S20 Ultra and the Galaxy S10 Plus, which is no small feat. At the same time, it scores below several other phones, including the Huawei P30 Pro. That's just one example, and it also gets beaten by other handsets out there, like for example, let's see. So it places below the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 and the iPhone 11. Once again, these are just examples. Now, if you don't like what the screen is showing, we have a bunch of options that you can play with. You can go to display here, you got your dark mode settings, you got your adaptive brightness, your screen mode can be set to vivid or natural, and you can also play with these advanced settings, RGB, and a slider for cooler or a warmer experience. Okay, blue light filter, font size and style, easy mode, and the edge screen, and that's about it. So I'm happy with the screen so far, and now we're going off to a familiar face. That familiar face is the CPU. Is the Exynos 9810 10nm octa-core processor. You've seen it before on the Galaxy Note 10. The phone comes in two versions of RAM, 6 or 8 GB, and also 120 GB of storage, UFS 2.1. Luckily, we also have a micro SD to expand it. Another good piece of news is that we don't have any lag, didn't encounter it here, and the games ran fine on the highest level of graphics, including Call of Duty Mobile, so zero complaints in that regard. Although the CPU is starting to feel dated, especially you're going to notice that when you boot, the boot will take a bit longer than you would expect, and I have a feeling that by the year end, you could maybe encounter some hiccups and lag. Now, performance-wise, let's see what Antutu 8 offers. Placed on the 24th spot, not the worst result in the world. It beats Huawei P40 Lite and the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 Pro, also the Galaxy A71. It's below the Oppo Find X2 Neo and also below a few other handsets out there. Let's see what we got here. So the Galaxy Note 10 Lite gets narrowly beaten by the Oppo Find X2 Neo and Huawei Nova 5T, and the Xperia 5 is 80,000 points above it. When it comes to the Geekbench benchmark, we got it here, and as you can see, we're just narrowly beating the Galaxy A51 and Nokia 6.2. Aside from that, we're below the Nokia 7.2, which is by no means a powerful phone, and also below the Motorola One Zoom. So not hugely impressive results, and gaming-wise, we got 3D Mark Slingshot. Here we're just above the Sony Xperia XZ3, which is kind of old, and also above this iPhone SE 2020, while at the same time we're below the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, Galaxy S10e, and OnePlus 6. So expected a bit more from it, but at the same time, imagined it would get this way. It's about on par with a Snapdragon 765 CPU phone, if not a Snapdragon 730. Now, temperature-wise, we also did those things. So temperature in benchmarks is 45 degrees Celsius, 45.3 actually, which is kind of a lot. If it goes past 40, you should be worried. It really pushes it to get the best results, and guess what? Doesn't even get them. Okay, so we have an ad here. Let's go back. Let's see the temperature we achieved when it comes to games. Things are more okay here with 35.4 degrees Celsius, so no overheating. Although in the long run, if you do long sessions of gaming, you may experience some heat. Now on the battery front, it already sounds pretty generous. We're dealing with a 4500 mAh unit with a 25 watt charging, wired only because we have a plastic back, there's no wireless, and the video playback you're about to see is just crazy. So 19 hours and 2 minutes, a bit shy of the top 10, and that's pretty impressive. It beats Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, Huawei P40 Pro, Galaxy S10 Plus, all of them pretty respectable phones in the battery department. It stays just below the Galaxy S10 Lite by a few minutes, below the Galaxy A70, Xiaomi Mi Note 10, which are all battery beasts. This is video playback. Continuous usage is also quite fine, 12 hours and 59 minutes, above the Huawei Mate 30 Pro, Xperia 5 and a few other handsets, and just below the Galaxy S20 Plus, Galaxy Note 10 Plus, Galaxy A50, A51 and A70 go past it by several dozens of minutes. Overall a pretty impressive performance, rounded up by a reasonably fast charge. It's 1 hour and 24 minutes, and after 30 minutes you're already at 49%, after 1 hour you're already at 1 hour is 86%. So overall the battery impressed me the most, and I will keep saying that until the end of the review. Now I guess it's time to refer to the speakers. Actually we only have a singular one, it's here at the bottom, and we will not cover it in landscape mode. Now let's listen to some tunes. Okay, so this phone also has Dolby Atmos, there, so you know, and I love the Samsung Music app so much that I installed it from the Galaxy Store, and the songs, we got them here, let's check them out. Okay, several impressions. I would say the volume is okay, not the loudest in the world. The bass is rather so-so. There's a bit of distortion at top volume and the high notes were heard okay. Now, if you really want some new stuff, it's the audio jack. For a while now, it got ostracized on some Samsung phones. It's here, audio jack. And the headphones bundled here are the same type you would get with a Galaxy A series device, current one. Okay, so we also did some tests. We have a decibel meter and we're measuring the sound power. We go here to the volume power and let's see what we got. So first of all, the acoustic sample revealed a value of 88 decibels, which is pretty impressive. It goes above the Galaxy S20 and also above the Galaxy S20 Ultra, not bad, below the Oppo Reno 3 Pro 5G and the Galaxy A70. This was an acoustic sample. When it comes to gaming, we don't crack the 100 decibels barrier yet, 98.7 decibels. It beats OnePlus 8 and Huawei P40 Pro, but not the Galaxy A51. Okay, time to talk about the cameras. You already noticed the front one. It's a 32 megapixel shooter with 4K video capture and fixed focus. At the back side, we have a triple camera setup that sounds like it's taken from an iPhone because it's 3 12 megapixel cameras. 12 megapixel main camera has optical image stabilization, dual pixel and f1.7 aperture. Then there is the telephoto cam with its own optical image stabilization, 12 megapixel as well, and 2x optical zoom. Finally, ultra wide 12 megapixel fixed focus, and that's that. Aside from that, you're getting AI scene optimizer, a night mode, live focus, super slow-mo, food mode, pro video, and single take borrowed from the S20 series. Okay, I will try not to bore you with the huge gallery of photos we have. It's crazy, 411 shots and videos. Okay, so let's get straight to it. The core experience delivered by the Galaxy Note 10 Lite resembles the one of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip, if you remember it. You know, the flip phone, the foldable one, released by Samsung earlier this year. What I mean by that is that we get a pretty decent amount of details and clarity, but the colors are inferior, they're a bit more off. I was always impressed with the colors here, except for the sky and the vegetation. Other than that, the colors were okay. Now, the ultra-wide capture was pretty fine, didn't distort the image very much, but the colors feel a bit too intense, as you can notice in some of these shots. The sky didn't look like that in real life, and by the way, this is a comparison of regular shot and ultra-wide shot. As you can see here, it gets a bit more intense and a bit whiter in the vegetation area. Okay, several more shots here, then we get into the selfies. I'm going to skip those with glasses. They're more relevant with the face straight on. Another comparison of shot, this time with some zoom. I would say that the zoom was quite impressive, so not bad. When it came to details, didn't lose too many of them compared to the expectations. Once again, an ultra wide shot, no deformation, a lot of details, but some noise in the distance shots. Good color calibration that you can see here. Once again, when it's not vegetation or sky, the colors are correctly calibrated, especially the reds and also the blues and what have you here. As always, the clarity is the staple of the Galaxy Note and the Galaxy S series. You're never going to see missed shots, blurred shots, or shots you wouldn't want to post on social media. A few examples of zoom, keeping intact the texture of the bear's face, even more advanced, going past 2x, 3x, 5x. And here we are with the selfies. Now, the selfie experience was not constant. I found the first 10 selfies to be underwhelming. And in general, I had the impression that the landscape selfies were actually better than the portrait selfies for some reason. The face texture is okay. You cannot see the pores though, that much I noticed. The facial expression is okay, and the eyes, I have an expression, the eye is liquid enough to pass the test. So you should also deactivate any sort of beautifying because it makes your face doll-like. The focus is okay, I expected worse from this fixed focus, so overall the selfie experience was quite okay. And if you also start to activate the bokeh effects, you'll be more than happy with the results. Okay, speaking of bokeh, I used the Mickey Mouse head here to blur the background, and it had a pretty nice effect. It totally cut it out from the background without missing a beat. Several more shots here and a bunch of close-ups with flowers. All of them are very nice, if you ask me. They can easily replace a macro or pass as a macro. And here we only have bokeh shots that look amazing. These ones highlight the pores and the beard, which I mentioned before that I was underwhelmed by them. So if you want to highlight your beard or your pores, it's the bokeh that you have to apply with its cool effects. Okay, even more shots, and believe it or not, I'm happy with the color calibration of the roses, even though the sky and the vegetation in general were not correctly calibrated. And we also have a peacock shot here in these images, shot with the camera. Okay, so I retain my impression exactly like the Galaxy Z Flip, only with worse calibrated colors for vegetation and sky. Now we're going to the night mode, to the nighttime shots, and what we have here is a pretty decent quantity of light caught by the camera. Now the ultra-wide shots were blurry and the street lights were quite big, deformedly big. In general, the lights were amplified by all the cameras on the phone. I like the lighting here, I like the built-in textures, so if you're going for an architectural trip, provided that this happens over the next year, you'll be happy with the results. You'll have Facebook and Instagram worthy shots to post. The colors are okay, and surprisingly enough, even the zoom satisfied me. It feels pretty much like the Galaxy S10 series, maybe even in the best moments like the Galaxy Note 10 series, so not that bad. And if you apply the night mode, you'll get a bit of an oil painting effect. That's what I noticed here. Okay, so one example here, I applied the night mode and things got a bit like an oil painting. Overall pretty solid, around the Galaxy S10 or even the Note 10 in quality. When it comes to video, I have too many samples, I have to resort to a special app, this one here, and even then I have crazy amount of videos, it's 46. It would be very hard to pick among them, so let's start with this one. Okay, so this one involves a stabilization test. We're walking around and as you can see the stabilization fares quite okay. However, like the photos, the colors are too intense, there's a bit of overexposure, not as bad as the S10 series, but still I can feel it. Pretty good focus, and speaking of focus, we also have a test for that. As I said before, we may have too many samples here. Here it is, this is our focus test. Pretty snappy. We also have a peacock screaming its lungs out. Let's see if you can find it. So it handles the colors okay, but only in the case of the peacock, the grass is too exposed for my liking, something that I noticed. The microphone was fine in catching the feather ruffling and the mating screams of the beast. We also have some slow motion shots of the fountain, of course. And let's look for something with more color. This is actually taken with a single take feature, and we also have objects in motion. As you can see, the sky is totally unrealistic, but the quality, clarity and details are exactly like on a S10 or even Note 10. Okay, and probably the best thing here was the selfie video. I remember that I praised the Galaxy S10 Lite for that, the Galaxy S20 Plus recently, and now also this one, excellent selfie video in 4K. You can easily create a vlog out of it. Okay, so my complaint remains the same as the photo department, overexposure and the colors are too intense for my liking. But hey, there are people out there who prefer more intense colors. Now let's talk connectivity. Okay, so this handset comes in single SIM versions and also dual SIM versions. You got Wi-Fi dual band, there's Bluetooth 5.0, GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, BDS, AGPS and Wi-Fi Direct, NFC, there's an USB-C port at the bottom, 2.0, there's ANT Plus, and that's that. The calls were pretty loud and clear, and when it comes to the speed of the networks, we got them all here. So when it comes to Wi-Fi, 424 units achieve 424 megapsecond downloads on Wi-Fi, pretty solid, 24.8 megapsecond in upload. When it comes to 4G LTE, we got as high as 125 megapsecond downloads on 4G and up to 31.6 megapsecond in download. So it was spot on, particularly the Wi-Fi download. Now, if you want to talk about the software, things are pretty straightforward. The phone now has One UI 2.1 on top of Android 10. The Fingerprint Scanner is a bit on the slow side. As you can see here, expected much more from it. Okay, and the face unlock doesn't exactly work securely, lacking a special infrared sensor. Now, aside from that, the experience is very familiar, pretty much what you got on the Galaxy Note 10 and Galaxy S20 with the latest updates. This is your Samsung Daily, the replacement of the Bixby aggregator. You still have Bixby as your favorite assistant, even though it's inferior to Google Assistant, Siri, even Cortana, and of course Alexa, so you better stay away. The interface is minimalistic and focused on the bottom third as the navigation and tab settings. Widgets are all transparent and white and clean. We still have the Edge feature here with shortcuts. For multitasking, we have this carousel of windows and you can do split screen if you want to, and also pop-up view to add another pop-up window on top of the split screen. If you swipe down, you can see the notifications and also quick settings with new and useful features like link to windows. There's also screen recorder, music share, and Bixby routines plus quick share. Now, I'm going to go straight through this and refer to the S Pen, one of the selling points. So basically, you're getting all the features of the Note 9 and all the features of the Note 10, but without the special command gestures of the stylus for the camera. The Note 9 had a few, like take a picture and swap cameras, but that's it. You don't get those to swap between the multiple cameras, to zoom in, to rotate it. Nope, Nothing like that here, only the basic take a photo and swap to selfie. Okay, now the pen itself does borrow some stuff from the Note 10 series, like AR Doodle, which is basically a way of me drawing onto myself right now and recording video while I'm doing the crazy drawings, and these things are actually kept on top of me in 3D. So you can do this recording, move around, and the 3D and AR elements are kept on your face. That's AR Doodle. Aside from that, you can create a note, you can do handwriting, you can draw, do smart select, screen write, do live messages, basically animate what you're writing, do some translation, enter the pen app community, and of course, you can also write on the deactivated screen, on the standby screen. You pull the stylus like this and you write buy milk. Horrible handwriting, but I should be able to remember it. Okay, so now you unlock it. The note has been saved. Unlocking it, and let's go to the create a note area. Okay, so here you can scribble, you can draw, you can do whatever you want. There are multiple pens and tips here. You can take notes, you can highlight and underline, and the core features of the Note 9 are here once again, and those of the Note 10 without remote features. You can add more to this bar, more shortcuts, and you got your Bixby Vision, your Magnify, Glance, Coloring, and Write on Calendar. Well, that's about it pen-wise. It's closer to the Note 9 than the Note 10. And app-wise, here's what we have. So there's your SmartThings, there's your Samsung Health, Galaxy Wearable, and then we go further, the Google selection of apps, Microsoft selection of apps. There's the Samsung Members, Galaxy Store, Spotify, Netflix, and of course the note-taking app, Samsung Notes, where you can draw, doodle, and much more, plus Game Launcher. Okay, so that's about it in a nutshell. Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Lite wants to be a lighter Note 10 with a plastic body. Let's go to the pros and cons. On the pro side, you actually have a pretty quality display, brightness-wise, color-wise, you name it. And as we talk about this, let's actually enter our website. So on the pro side of the Galaxy Note 10 Lite, solid screen, okay performance when it comes to day-to-day usage. I would say that the battery is superb, one of the best batteries I've tested on the Samsung phones. It's got a loudspeaker, good close-ups, good bokeh, also good selfie bokeh, pretty decent selfies, fast focus when filming, nice 4K 60 frames per second video, good stabilization, fast connective, and the S Pen and One UI make a pretty good pairing. Those are the pros. On the cons, I feel that the colors are too vivid and intense in photos and videos for the sky and vegetation. Now the phone is also a bit slippery, it draws some lint, the backside may scratch easily, doesn't have stereo speakers, doesn't have IP60 certification, doesn't have wireless charging, and no extra pen remote control features like we had on the Note 10. Well, honestly, since those were hit and miss, it's not that big of a loss. In the end, you're going to end up buying the phone for its very solid battery, for the S Pen, for the screen, maybe even the camera, and the fact that you're going to get more updates than the Galaxy Note 9. That's the core feature. And basically you're going to have to pick between this one and the Note 9 because they have the same CPU. This one will get more updates because it's newer, and I would say that the battery is much more impressive. So this is it from us, gsn.com, close to $500 this phone, also the price may be an argument. Bye bye.